Hello, good evening, good afternoon. Oh, a bit of feedback. And welcome to Ladies Go Live podcast episode 6, I believe, and I'm with the fantastic Kelly Robinson.
You're on a roll. You are on a roll, Liz.
Oh, I just love the best.
You've had awesome people on too.
Yeah, and there's some more awesome ones coming up, but today is all about you. It's just about you.
Ooh, okay.
You're in the hot seat, so
I know.
It's all health and well-being, and obviously the queen of it, you know, I'll take that crown, but you know, you are the queen of talent and recruitment. So
I am.
I am. So what gives you this crown? Why are you so awesome with talent and recruitment? What is Kelly awesome at?
Wow. That's hard to say, but I will say I have a lot of time, a lot of years in recruiting and hiring from all different aspects, from, actually recruiting, from managing recruiting projects to managing recruiters to consulting with clients and process and strategy to being a managing partner of a company that underwent pretty big growth for a boutique firm, and now having my own company, which is awesome. And Liz, guess what?
What?
Our January revenue was 1/3 of our entire revenue last year.
Now that is awesome.
We just need to do better because I want to do 400%, not 300 growth. So we've got it. We're pushing, but
that's great. Awesome. That's business. And of course, all you want to do year on year is just improve. So that is fantastic. The fact you've done that already.
It's really exciting. I think the team is like, slow down. I'm like, nope, let's keep going.
Keep going. But that's it, because obviously it's not easy. Being not easy. Everyone thinks, okay, it takes a certain kind of person to run their own business.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can be employed either.
Right. I can't. I mean, I guess I could, but I don't want to.
There's pros and cons to both. There's complete pros and cons to both. Obviously being your own boss, the pressure's all on you. So you never want to take that foot off the gas. You want to be out there. You want to be delivering the best, but also you want to be building something.
Yeah.
And of course, whatever you build, this is where talent's beautiful. Whatever you build, you're building for others because you're building for your clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that I've had all these different experiences. So there's tons of different kinds of recruiting. Everyone thinks there's just like headhunters where you make all this money. You find someone, you shove them in a job and you make all this money. That's not the recruiting that I do, right? There's all these different types. So I've done a bunch of different types of recruiting, which is great. So it's given me the ability to build my own model, which is awesome. Yeah. So I can do it how I want to do it. And I can, I don't have to take on those clients that are going to be a pain in the arse. I don't have to. I fired a client in the beginning of the year.
But that's it. It's a case of when they all say, it's like people with coaching, with business, whatever, it's like you don't have to work with someone. Just because you see a paycheck, it's not about the paycheck. Yeah. It's about the right fit.
What's a paycheck?
A salary, the money,
I invest back into my business. I do take a little bit from time to time, but if you knew what I took last year, you would die. Most people couldn't even live, but I just invest back into the business because that's important for growth, right? You've got to spend on marketing and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been focused on this year.
It's not a bad thing to focus on. It's already paying off, those results that you just said.
Yeah, and we haven't even started on a lot of the things yet. Like I'm starting, but they're not out there yet. So we're doing a lot of things. I've hired a lot of people in marketing with different areas of expertise, and they're all it's almost like my outsourced marketing department. They're all helping me in different ways. Like I've got Erica Warfield, Jordan Mendoza, Alex Sheridan, Wes Lamos. Like I've got a lot of people helping with things, which is, and I probably forgot. And then I have also coaches and stuff like that, but it's a lot.
Yeah.
But it's great.
But that's the thing, because one of the things you're also offering now is coaching and training for people to do, you know, in other elements. In the case of the bottom line is, how can you value coaching unless you can see value in it in yourself?
Yep, that's right. So it's more about recruiting coach. So I coach recruiters and recruiting teams and recruiting leadership teams, but I'm not a general coach coaching executives, which I'd be happy to do, but it's not really what I want. It's not my focus right now. So I have a program that's a 4-week program, but a lot of my students or clients, so to speak, will continue, right? They're like month to month because they want continuous coaching, and it's for recruiters. And so what I challenge, you know, HR departments or companies or entrepreneurs is to invest in their recruiting team, because the recruiting team is the front line. No one ever thinks to invest. They're all worried about employee retention. Yeah. They don't think about investing in the recruiting team, which is the front line. That is where retention starts. It starts in recruiting. And so I have a program where I coach in one-on-ones and groups with corporate recruiters, in-house recruiters, and, you know, really teach them how to build really strong relationships and make sure that they're really identifying the right talent, because the right talent for me isn't the right talent for you.
And that's the thing, you got to fit the two together.
That's right.
There's a great question coming here from Kyle, because obviously he's saying, what is your model? What
is my model? I have a couple models. So the coaching is something that I do to get my foot in the door. And it works. Like my biggest client right now is big, and it's a global company. It's like a $1.3 billion company. And that's how I got my foot in the door. I did some coaching for their team, and they were like, they didn't even finish it. They're like, can you just do our hiring? So I said, sure. So now my company is doing the hiring. The other model is, I have 2 ways. I can either work with more of dedicated teams. So I don't say dedicated resources, because it's not a dedicated body. I don't like to say that. It's not a full-time person. It's a resource team, sorry. And that's usually like some kind of flat fee. Yeah. If they want part-time, we can do that too. But it's just less attention. It depends on their needs. Yeah. But we either work in conjunction with their internal team as the heavy hitters, or we go in and work with companies that don't even have teams to be kind of, you know, the all in. Yeah. Well, I'm now going to bring you off what you do exactly and talk about how you do it, because obviously I'm all about health and well-being. And after helping you kickstart 2021, which was amazing, that was fun. But of course, obviously, health and well-being is essential. So why is it, you know, how do you bring that into your job? How do you bring your health and well-being, so making sure that you're in top of your game? Yeah. So first of all, this year I kicked off my first week with a self-care planning for my company, which was great. People are like, oh my gosh, that was late to start the first year, but it was actually perfect for me. So, and I kicked off every single morning at 8 o'clock on my vacation with Liz Jones, on Zoom, of course. I didn't see her. No, not campus wives. Yeah. We did an hour of workout every day, and we did different things. Like, she put together a whole program, which was awesome. So if they're interested in that, she does it. She's phenomenal. So that was one thing that I did. And the importance to me is, I have learned over the last few years, since I started really focusing on taking care of myself mentally, emotionally, physically, everything, right? So I really started focusing more on my health and wellness. I have seen such a major difference in myself in 1,000 different ways. So I have been able to start my own business. And I know that comes from like, confidence. Confidence comes from taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Also knowing your stuff. But there's times when I'm like, I'll just jump in. I'm like, I'm doing Clubhouse tomorrow. I'm like, I'm just gonna jump in. Whatever. Like, because it comes, like, you get some of that confidence. And this is something I don't know anything about, Clubhouse. But I'm just gonna do it. So that all comes from internally how you're taking care of yourself. And so when I was like 20 pounds overweight, like 3 years ago or 3.5 years ago, I didn't have that. I hated putting on clothes. I hated going out. I made bad decisions because why not? I'm already overweight, right? I already feel gross. So, now that I eat well, I work out. I don't function well if I don't work out. It brings me down. And so in the end of last year, for the last few months, I got so busy that I couldn't work out in the afternoons like I used to. And what I realized was I've got to flip that around. I have to work out.
Yeah.
And I've got to flip that around to the morning. So now the first thing I do in the morning is I work out, because then I know I'm done and I'm going to feel great for my day. And I made that change. And I used to say, I'm not a morning person. I can't do that. Well, guess what? I am now.
And it changes your whole day.
My whole day.
And of course, that obviously, because people go, well, you two are friends. It's like you and I connected at the start of last year.
Yeah.
The only reason, obviously, we now co-host the Wednesday event. We obviously done this. You've worked with me because you needed that one element of your life. And obviously, Carl has raised this as well. But that power of networking, is that how you got into that company? So you say you're big, massive clients. How did you get your foot in the door with them? Was that through the power of networking as well?
Yeah. So LinkedIn, a lot of my businesses come from LinkedIn. So I've been spending more time on LinkedIn. Mm-hmm. I've been on LinkedIn since like 2004, but I really started hardcore with like posting, engaging, building my network in 2019 when I launched my business. Mm-hmm. And I was putting out my 9 stages of the talent acquisition life cycle. I built and I designed and I was putting out videos. And someone in my network that I spoke to like maybe once over the years, another recruiter, he reached out and he said, I think my company could use this. And I really like your stuff. Mm-hmm. And the first thing he said was, can you just like send me all the videos? So I was like, sure. They're all on YouTube. Just go to you can watch them right in a row on YouTube. He's like, good. I'm going to have my team watch them. I was like, okay. And then he comes back and he's like, can you come in and coach us on this? And I said, yeah, sure. That's what happened. Like, mm-hmm. It's if you do the right things and you're consistent, mm-hmm. And you grow your network on LinkedIn in the right way, like very intentionally. Mm-hmm. So I don't send out random invites. I'll accept anyone that sends me a note. I'm not going to be judgy in that way. If someone wants to connect because they want to engage and follow and they think I'm interesting, that's great. Mm-hmm. I think that's amazing. But I do go after, I'm very specific in the targeting with any connections that I send. Mm-hmm. I'm very intentional. So, but yeah, you got to put out content. You have to be consistent. Mm-hmm. I remember the first couple times I ever posted on LinkedIn and I would no one would even see it. And I would be like, oh, this is weird. And that feels bad. They're like, this is weird. Now, like if I get under 100, I'm like, oh, that was a bad post.
Yeah, but you notice, I'm like, I'm getting 300, 400. Oh, look, 20.
That's a bad post, right? You're like, oh, right. When other people are like, oh my gosh, I got 20.
But then I also, because I remember, I don't know you think how things change. It's like even last year, I remember starting lockdown with about 4,000 connections.
Yeah.
And now it's sort of like I'm over 3 times that amount. Yeah. And you just sit there going, actually, I could have gone to probably, I could be double this. I could, be chasing everybody and be after a number. But it's not. It's that intention.
That's right. That's right.
And that comes from having the clear mind.
That's right. So even though, if I had been working really hard at it for the last 2 years, mm-hmm. I could have a much higher 60, 70, 100. Like I could have that, but that was my goal wasn't the number. My goal was the right network, and it's working. It's working for me.
Reading Carl's comment. It's just put up. Yes, it's so funny. Going through it now. But of course, obviously, we've got some ladies with us. So obviously, we've got Anne and, of course, Barbara and everything. So guys, thank you for joining us and listening, and appreciate your comments. So obviously, we've talked about the last hour, and like I said, you and I connected just for the pandemic. You know, obviously, the pandemic has hit your fitness levels because obviously we're still riding it through. And of course, now you've taken control. But of course, the reason you took control was, like many professionals do, they hit that slump. That either the right intentions on the first lockdown, but didn't get around to it, and then just fell into that sort of comfort of just not doing things and going, oh my God, I'm tied to my laptop.
Yeah.
So how's your fitness levels overall? Is that been the ride?
Well, it's not back. So I'm not back to where I was before when I was able to go to a gym. And that's not a good excuse. Like it's just not. But I will say, as I get older, I become more comfortable in my skin. So like right now, you know, I see myself and I'm like, sometimes I'm like, whoa, right? But often I'm like, you know what? I'll be 45 in 2 months and I'm feeling pretty good with the way that I feel and the way that I look. I don't have a scale. I don't weigh myself. I just don't.
Good.
I just you what?
See, I love that. When people say that they don't weigh themselves on scale, I mean, I occasionally, if I trick mine out because I'm cleaning out the cupboard, I jump on them, you know, but it's kind of like this, you can get obsessed with what you weigh, and weight is not, you know, relative to actually how you look and how you feel.
Not at all. I just want to feel good. Like I tried to put on yesterday, like my one pair of, like, you know, my nice work jeans that I have, because I was doing the 𝐕𝐵 last night, and I thought maybe I should just be in, like, you know, I'm always in my yoga pants, but I'm like, maybe I should be in a full just to get into the thing, you know, and they were tight, and I was like, all right, I got to take them off. I can't be sitting here like this in those, right? Yeah. But it's okay. I'm not like, I'm going to get back there. I don't want to say COVID is an excuse. It slowed me down for sure, but I don't want to use it as an excuse, because I know if I work hard enough, I can get back to where I was, and I'll get there. I'll get there.
You've hit a valid point there. I'm confident in my own skin. Why do you think that body confidence and that sort of happy in my own skin is particularly important for the professional? So in the professional, why do you need that?
Just think about the time in your life when, like, you did something really cool and you felt really good. Like maybe you were like going to prom, or like maybe you were maybe it was a wedding. What? Yeah. Like, yes. How about just doing like a presentation, or like talking to a friend or something, and like going out to dinner, and you're not worried about like how you look, blah, 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 right? I used to hate dressing up. Yeah, that's it, right? It's the business mullet. It's this. I used to hate dressing up. Hated it. So much so that I would shy away, bail on things, not go. And now I love dressing up. I miss it.
Hey, you can still do it at home. Make anything. Actually, go. Literally, this is. I'll show you my thing. In lockdown 1, what we used to do on a Friday night, we had a full dress up. We used to get up, get makeup on, jewelry, full dress, heels, have a proper dinner, proper sit down dinner, a couple of bottles of wine, and we made it the night out in. So we made that. And that is what obviously the pandemic is about, because it's not. You can say, "Oh, I can't grow my business." You've just proved you can. I can't take care of my well-being. Okay, you hit a slump, but you've just shown you can. You know, you can use these excuses, but actually it's how you put into it. It's what you see it as that actually really matters.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel so, I'm not worried about things like going out and doing things now. Just because of it. It gives you it does give you confidence. It's one less thing to worry about. There's too many things in the world to worry about.
Yeah.
So if the other thing, Liz, is I always used to say, I can't do that every day. Like, I can't make this a lifestyle. It's just not going to work for me. Like, I like to go to the gym and I'll do it a little bit and then I'll stop. And something just clicked when I was, 40, I guess, 40. I lost my dad. I got divorced, and I was like, you know what? Got to do something for myself. And this is like my time. And I started working out, and I wasn't losing any weight. And then I realized it's because I had to do the dreaded cardio. Then I started doing cardio. Then I love, like, cardio is like my favorite thing. So it's just, and then I started eating. I wasn't like losing enough weight. So I was like, why? Oh, I can't eat McDonald's 5 days a week. Oh,
Ooh.
oh, okay. Oh, I have to eat healthy. Oh.
So it kind of, and that's the thing, is it is like a jigsaw. You piece it together.
Yeah.
And if you do it steadily, like health and well-being, if you do it over time, it's easy. And I'm sure, like, you're a business owner, you help get the right people, and you obviously portray this to others. And I know that because obviously you hired me to help work with your team to obviously provide yoga. But that's what a leader does. You take your habits that you know add benefit and value, and you share them on.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, for me, it's all about my people always. Like, if you take care of your people, they will produce if they're happy. Mm-hmm. So for me, I don't focus on clients so much. I focus on the people, because they're going to produce if they're happy. And it's also not just changing their work life, it's changing their personal life, because they're happier, right? So they interact with people on a personal level and they're happy, but also they become more successful. So they make more money, right? It's like this whole, yeah. So meditate, I love meditation, affirmations, manifestation, like all this stuff. I just believe in all of it. It's just really, really important. What do you think?
Sorry, Carl's put a great comment. He's like, dress for business, pajamas and tracksuit are out. I'm sorry, they are in for me, because when I teach a class, I kind of do need to have my tracksuit on.
Oh my God.
I think that's a specific, there you go, you said that's for your business. So obviously, why not? Exactly. Why not feel the part? I mean, we say, okay, you've got to dress the part if you're going on the stage. You've got to dress the part if you're giving a presentation. But, and of course I say the thing, but then I teach classes, so you can't do, if you try and do yoga in jeans, it's a bit interesting. It's not quite the same. But you should be dressing the part, and the fact is, we've got all these clothes in our wardrobe. Last thing we want to do is we want to sit there and kill it.
Yeah.
You want to be the best self. So you should be feeling like your best self.
Yeah. All right, but here's and you guys all, I know everyone knows this, because they probably do the same for the business mullet. I have in my office, which is an extra bedroom. It has a closet. It also has a bathroom. So it's like my second home, because in my closet are all of my work sweaters, blouses. They're all here. There's no reason for them to be in my room. And in my bathroom is makeup, something to wash my face, because I don't like the makeup sitting on my face after a meeting. I take it off and I'll redo it for another meeting if I have to. It's jewelry. I've got jewelry in my drawer. I have multiple earrings, 5 or 6 bracelets, some rings, and necklace. Like, I have things. So it's the business mullet that I just will go, because I want to be comfortable when I'm working. I want to be like in the zone. But when I get on with a client or something, you'll often see me like with these two. It makes me look a little bit more.
I was hoping where mine I should read for reading the comments. I'm like, I haven't got my contacts in.
it's the business mullet. So I'll throw on something like this. Like I have yoga pants on and slippers.
So what would be, if you could give one bit of advice to your she shows it as well.
My Uggs, yeah.
So if you were talking back to your 18-year-old self, what's one bit of advice you would give her?
Oh my God. That nothing happening in that moment will matter when you're 45.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
It really is.
It's so true. Nothing around you. Doesn't matter your status in high school. It doesn't matter your family. It doesn't matter your friends. Doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter. Any of that doesn't matter. You're too young at that age to even put anything together, and you're not mature enough, and you're not even developed enough to like make good decisions. And it's actually very young to even go to college and live on your own. I mean, that's a lot. Think about that. A 19-year-old, an 18-year-old, that's a baby. When we look at them, we're like, oh my gosh, it's a baby. My son is 11. Like that 18 and 19 is a baby.
You're technically in adolescence till the age of 24. So that means well, I'm qualified in training adolescents. So up until the age of 24, you're still growing in some way. So that's why when people are like 19, 20, 21, they can be treated as an adult because they're considered, because over 18, anyways. But in some ways, they won't quite be there because they haven't quite finished. It could be a physical thing. Generally your height stops growing sort of by late teens. But yeah, they have to, up to the age of 24. So
yeah, I just there's so much pressure on the kids there just is, especially with social media. Everyone wants to put out there that life is perfect. Life isn't perfect. And even like I'm saying like, oh, I work out and I'm fit and my company had a great year, blah, 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 blah. There's still a lot of stuff, a lot of, crap that I go through. And there's still days when I'm like, really? Like, you get news that you don't want to hear. And what's really great about all of these things that I focus on is I'm learning the coping mechanisms to deal with them, right? Like, so the more I do meditation and all of these things, I'm learning. So right before I got on with Liz, something just terrible, something bad happened. And I said to Liz, I just need a minute. And we talked for a minute. And then she said, all right, we're going to start. You have 30 seconds because when she puts it up, it counts down to 30. So I breathe in, I held it in, and I breathe out. And that's something I learned from Liz. And I did that and I came on and I was like a new person.
And that's one good thing about having the countdown is because if you just need that second, you can kind of go, I need to fix my hair, or I just need to sort of bend it. And it's like, and zen. And of course it's good because obviously we've got listeners who are joining. It's like, yeah, they're coming, we're here. We're actually, it's not just a joke, it is coming live.
Yes.
Rather than me as well. My first days of my lives, forgetting to click the live button.
It's not, life isn't perfect. No. And so social media is hard on kids when people come out and act like, oh, everything's perfect. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. You just have to work. You have to know how to cope. You have to understand how to manage through it and how to respond and not react. And I still mess it up all the time, but I try. So
that's the thing. You said it before. It's not about getting it, it's having the tools. So actually knowing it's a case of nothing's perfect. You're not going to achieve every client you talk to is going to sign up. You're not going to have every member of staff be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. But when the roadblocks hit, it's having the right tools in place to practice and use. And that takes time. It takes the fact you've worked with coaches, you develop yourself, and you're willing to develop your team.
Yeah.
So who is the biggest influence or who inspires you the most?
Oh, my dad. He's not with us, but he was like the proudest father. He was proud of everything. Like I posted something recently because it was just the 5-year anniversary of his passing. And if I was like, he's just such a proud, if I was a bank robber, like he would be like, well, she's the best bank robber. I don't care. Like, that's honestly, like, after he kicked my ass, right, verbally, then he would, like, if you're going to rob a bank, do it the best way that you can. Like, that's a joke, of course, but like, that's how he was. So he worked, he didn't go to college. He joined the Army. He started at Wyeth Pharmaceuticals, which is now Pfizer, when he was, 19 years old. In the mailroom, he was promoted to a janitor from the mailroom. That was a promotion.
Yeah.
He was a janitor, which is in the facilities, and he retired about 10 years before he left us. But he was a director of operations at Wyeth, which was huge. Mm-hmm. So he worked his way up. So he eventually was managing, 200 plus facilities folks in the building that he was in. It was amazing. Like, so he's just done that. There was 4 of us. Mm-hmm. He never missed anything. He had a second job when we were little, so my mom could stay home. He would pick up extra work there and work a second shift. He was just happy. People were drawn to him. Just always proud. Just that person. Everyone loved him.
Sounds amazing.
Worked hard. Yeah, family guy. Just awesome. Yeah. Didn't miss any of our stuff ever. Even came to watch me cheerlead when he didn't. Cheerleading is not a sport, but he and my mom would come. But really, I think he was just watching the football game behind me. But
yeah,
but they would come.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, that's awesome. It's a great person to be inspired by.
Yeah.
So, what is the greatest lesson you've learned, and how do you think others can benefit from this?
Oh God, that's hard. You're like, why didn't you read the questions ahead of time, Kelly? Because I don't. I just remember that you sent me questions, I think.
I did. Well, actually, no, I gave you a few that I could be choosing from. I didn't say which ones exactly.
Okay. I'm not, what I don't like? I just did one of these an hour ago with Randy McNeely. Yeah. But I said to him, like, there were questions that he had that I didn't listen, like, I didn't go there because I don't like to do that. For me, personally, some people need that, but for me, it doesn't come off as genuine. All right. So did you say my best lesson?
Your greatest lesson. So
the greatest
lesson. What's the greatest thing you've learned and that you think others can benefit from?
So I'll give you something in professional, and then I'll give you something in my personal life. And by the way, Liz and I have like matching tattoos too. That's also what made us fall in love with each other. Do you remember on the phone? We were like in our first Zoom when we met. We were like, I don't even know how to do it, but yeah. I have a lot more too, but
anyway, I have more than you.
You probably do.
We'll just leave that one there. I got more than you.
All right. So professionally, one of the biggest lessons that I've learned over all of my time, and I've had such an amazing kind of career, is that if you want to be an entrepreneur, you need, first of all, you need to be a risk taker. Mm-hmm. You also need to spend money to make money, right? So when people, and that's hard because some people are like, well, where is that coming from? Well, if you really want it, you're going to figure it out. You just are. You're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. So you have to spend money to make money. It's really important because I was with a company for a long time where we didn't spend any money. So for me, we had to work way harder, and I had to try like around, and then we finally started spending money on marketing, but it was like a waste. A lot of money wasted. So this time around, I've been spending money. Mm-hmm. So on other things, so that's really important. It may sound really dumb to any of you that aren't entrepreneurs. But it's really, really a good business lesson. Personally, is one of my favorite things is the oxygen mask theory. You have, it's not selfish. You have to take care of yourself first. If you're on the plane, they say to put your mask on before you put your kid on, where you think like, I want to take care of my kid first. Well, if you're struggling to get that on, maybe it doesn't work, right? Because you can't even breathe. So you've got to first take care of yourself and then take care of your child, your husband, whatever. So if you are feeling good inwardly and outwardly, and just in general, feel good emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever, you're better for everyone else. And by the way, when there was a time in my life when I was really miserable, and I look back at that time and I see it now and I think, oh, okay, that's what my ex-husband was talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
At the time.
Could not see it at the time. Now I see like, oh, I was miserable. And, you know, my son said to me a few months ago, he said, Mom, I love to see you doing all this stuff now. Like I do everything in my house by myself, like that I would never do before. And I'm active and I'm working out. And he said, in the old house, okay, my son is 11. So he was 6 when we left the old house. And he goes, and so I was hoping he had no memory. He goes, in the old house, you just sat on the couch. I mean, that's not what you want your child to say, but he's right. And looking back, I was miserable. Things are different for me now. Like even my house is so tidy, and I except for this office is leaving a little to be desired right now. But in general, it's a feel good when you take care of yourself and the things around you. Mm-hmm. Makes a difference.
I think that's a fantastic thing to recognize. And you and I can talk for hours, because obviously we tend to do, and we do every week, but obviously we'll end it there. So how can people, if they want to continue the story or find out more about you, I know I did put in the comments your website as well as your LinkedIn. Are they the best way to get hold of you?
Definitely. I mean, you can email me directly, Kelly@pannaknows.com. You can DM me in LinkedIn, Kelly Robinson. There's lots of ways. And my information is out there. But I'd love to talk to anyone. If anyone is looking for any kind of support in recruiting or coaching or help, or just wants to make a great connection, just let me know.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, and a big thank you to everyone who has been listening, and thank you all for the valuable comments. It's been absolutely amazing. So Kelly, until next week when we go live on our usual, thank you very much.
Bye. Thanks, Liz.